Okay, we're going to use one of our Google Apps tools called Myna to record your podcasts. And so first you need to log into your Google Docs account. So in Quick Links, go to Google Apps and then log in. You'll log in with your student ID number as your username. Your password is your 8-digit birthday. And then there is, if down here at the bottom, a link for Aviary design tools, which is what we're eventually going to get into, but I actually have better luck if I first click on Docs, and then under this More feature there's a drop down, and Aviary is one of the links here. The other link is broken, it just doesn't always take me where I want to go. So Aviary is an editing suite that does pictures, images, makes vectors, all kinds of great stuff. But what we want is to go to the Edit Audio tool. Their audio tool editor is called Myna, and you're going to click on the Mix a Podcast choice. Once you click on Record Podcast, you're taken into the audio editor tool. It's a lot like GarageBand if you've used GarageBand. One of the first things I recommend you do is go down to the statement that says, I agree to the terms to show the library. This will give you access to some great sound files that you can use to enhance your podcast. Okay, so the first thing that maybe you want to do is to record your essay. And I recommend you do this in chunks. That way, if you make a mistake, you don't have to re-record the whole thing. You can go out and edit out parts that maybe you haven't done so well. But doing it maybe paragraph by paragraph is the best way to do it. So when you're ready to record, there's the feature over here called Record. And you simply click this button. You will get some settings, some warnings. Basically, your computer is needing to run Adobe Flash. And so just click close when this message comes up, and you definitely want to allow the microphone access, otherwise it's not going to pick up your voice. So you click allow. Now over here on the right, I can see that this bar is going up and down, and you want to do some talking before you record. This is letting me know that the microphone is recording my voice. And for this project, I have picked a sample essay off the NPR website of their This I Believe essays. This one is by Sarah Adams, and it's Be Cool to the Pizza Delivery Dude. So I'm just going to record her very short little introduction to show you how this works. So I'm going to click Start Recording. If I have one operating philosophy about life, it is this: be cool to the pizza delivery dude. It's good luck. 4 principles guide the pizza dude philosophy. And you saw when I was done, I simply clicked stop recording, and now it's playing back what I just stated. Okay. Alright, so it gave me a little preview of what it sounded like. I can just click this X if I didn't like it and go back and basically delete it. If I'm happy with it, then I'll click Import to Project. And you want to give it a title, so I'm going to call this the introduction, because this was her short introduction here, and I'm going to click Save. It will go through a few steps where it's encoding, processing, updating. Just let it run. And then now over here on the right, you can see that I have it as my files. And it's not in my editor yet. It just kind of exists in my little library. So I'm just going to click over here and drag it in where I want it on track 1. And you can drag it all the way over to begin at the very beginning. I think I'm going to start mine with a little bit of introductory music, so I'm just going to leave a little bit of space over here. It's a great idea to save your project often. So at this time, I'm just going to take a second and save this. This is web-based, so it's a good idea to save often in case you get bumped offline. Okay, so now my project is saved. Again, it gives me this little message about mixing it down, which I don't need to worry about, so I'm just going to close that. And now I'm going to go in and add maybe a background track of music. So they have all these different styles of music here that you can pick from. That's part of that library you agreed to. And to listen to what it sounds like, you only need to click this play button. And that's not going to be a good fit for my project. So I kind of picked one out ahead of time. And I'm going to use this dream roll, and there's intro, loops, and ends. So you want to use an intro for the beginning, loops for the middle part, and obviously an end for the end. So I'm going to just use intro 1A, and I want to keep track of that number because I want to use that same 1A loop and 1A end so that the song sounds like it was put together. And to add background music, you just need to add it onto a separate track. So I like this intro. I'm going to go with this one, and you can see I just drag it in over here. I do want the song to start at the very beginning, so I'm going to drag it all the way over to the left. And then it loads in there. So if I click the play, it allows me to preview how it sounds. Now you can see this red bar goes across. This is where I am in the timeline, and I can drag this back and forth if I want to just hear this part again and click play. And what I can tell right away is that the sound is too loud. It's drowning out my voice. So if you scroll down just a little, you'll see some of these tools, and they're just kind of cut off the way the windows are set up here. But under track 2, underneath it, track 2, there's a volume bar, and so I can drag this down to about halfway and click play. And go back and click play. And maybe tweak that until I feel like the music is just the right volume for not drowning out my voice, but being a nice accompaniment. So another thing I'm going to do while I'm in here is also go into the loops for the same song. And again, I picked Dreamer Loop 1A. So the loop would be what you'd want to put in the middle. So I'm going to drag that in there. And the loop is designed to have a nice beginning and end, so that it does just what it says, it loops. So maybe, I want to have a couple of these. It's going to go for quite a while. So I can copy this clip and I can paste it in. And the loop, when I pair these two together, it won't sound like there's a break in the song. It's just set up perfectly so that the song blends nicely into one another. And then I can add in as many loops as I want, and then at the very end of my essay I'll put in one of these end tracks and do that so that it ends nicely, so it doesn't sound like the song just got cut off. Another thing that you might want to do is add in some fades. And so what I'm going to do for this one is, again, right down at the bottom here underneath track 2 there's the volume bar, but also what you'll get is if you click on auto, you'll get fades, gain, and pan. And I don't use too many of these. I really only use fade. So I'm going to click fade, and you get these boxes at the beginning and the end for fading in and fading out. So I'm just going to kind of drag this along so it gets a fade in for the music. Again, you can click the play button, and I can hear, it's hard for you to hear, but the song gets progressively louder. It fades in. If you think it fades too quickly, you can lengthen it. It takes too long, so you can adjust it just the way you want to. I'm not going to do any fade outs until the very, very end of my essay when I'm done reading, but the fading out, you just pull it back this way. So you take the end of the clip where it says fade out, and the song will gently fade into silence. Right, so now that you have your music established, you can go back up to track 1. Again, you can see I have the music coming in, it fades in, and then I start reading my essay. I can go down to where my essay ends here and get ready to put in my second part. Again, I only read that first paragraph. So when you're ready to read another paragraph, again, you click the record button, click the start recording, and you'll read your next paragraph. Principle 1, coolness to the pizza delivery dude is a practice in humility. So when you are done recording, you can import to your project, and I'll call this first paragraph. Really important to put your labels in there, otherwise you're not going to know which order to put them in. If I didn't like it, once again, I could click the X and just basically re-record. A little do-over. Okay, so now over here I can see our first paragraph, and I can just drag this into the timeline. Now what you might want to do is have a little bit of music in between paragraphs, or you can have them back to back. So I'm just going to drag in first paragraph. And you can listen, again, if you want them sandwiched up against each other, you can. Otherwise, you can have a little bit of music that transitions however you like it. That's basically how you get everything in there. I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and then I'll show you how to do some editing to each clip if you need to. And finally, just some quick tips about other things you can do to your audio clips. If I am using this edit button up here, which is the default button, and I go to the end of a clip, you can see I can easily just trim it. So there's a little bit of silence at the end of this paragraph that I read. I can go in and quickly just trim that. I can also take something right out of the middle of it if I choose to. So if I use this select tool, and let's say I messed up and re-recorded a section back to back, but let's say I just need to remove a little tiny spot of this, I can highlight it. Again, I would have used that play button to preview and see where I am and to make sure I highlight just the right area. So I highlight what I want, and then I can go to the edit menu, and I can do anything from cutting or copying it. I'm just going to cut it, and you see it literally just disappears. So from here, if I wanted to get rid of it, I can just drag this part over, and now it will seem like that is one audio clip when someone goes to listen to it. Okay, now after I finish saving, I always get this mix down reminder. And what you do want to do when you're all done is mix down your song so that you can share it with others. I'm going to close this window. If it doesn't show up, if you've saved earlier and you kind of forgot that, you can also access the mix down from this file menu. So I'm going to go ahead and click mix down and let it prepare my mix. After you complete your mix down, you're given basically a few choices here. So you can download your file as an MP3 or a WAV file. So if you wanted to carry it around on your MP3 player, you sure could. What we need to do, though, is copy this embed code. So you're going to highlight this, and then you'll need to click copy. Or you can see that there's a feature right here called copy it. Okay, so now that your file's created, you're almost done. You're just about there. You don't have to do anything new. You just need to basically turn your file in the right spot. So I've already copied this embed code, and now I need to go put it on the correct website. Good news is it's already made. There's nothing new to make. You just need to get into Google Sites. So just find one of your windows across the top that says Google something, like Google Sites or Google Docs, and then find on that screen in the black bar across the top, there's a little quick link to Sites. Get to your Google Sites. I have several sites. These are my sites. You'll have a section that says Sites Shared With Me, and in Sites Shared With Me, you will find the This I Believe Essays. It's a website that we've already set up ahead of time. All you need to do is navigate to your correct class and to the correct area your last name falls. I'll have these hyperlinked very soon, but right now just pretend you're in block 4. Okay, let's pretend my last name was Carter, so I'm going to put it on the C to E page in block 4. As soon as I get to the correct page, I should see an editing feature pop up here. Now only one person can edit this page at a time, so there's probably about 4 or 5 of us that have last names that fall in this range. If someone else is editing it, I'm going to need to wait. When they're done, I'll be able to edit the page. The key here is you don't want to mess up their changes, so just make sure you follow the directions carefully here, and if you make a mistake, click cancel, not save. So I'm going to go ahead and edit, and I can see there's already 2 This I Believe essays in there, and they changed to these little audio gadgets when I'm in editing mode, so they don't have the play button. You have copied embed code from Aviary. That's the thing that we clicked copy. So now we're going to put it into the HTML code editor, or it's called source code. So we're going to click this button. This is what the code looks like to the computer, and it interprets that and shows us what the website looks like. Just don't mess with any of the code. Just go all the way down to the bottom, hit an enter so that you don't break up or mess up anybody else's, and just click paste. Then you'll click update, and you can see now that there's now 3 This I Believe essays in there. You can now kind of use them as text. So now I'm just in the regular editor. I'm going to go up and just give a little space between that person's and mine, kind of space them out a little bit. And then I do want you to remove these links. We don't, if you click on this in editing mode, we don't need a link to Aviary. Remove that. And we don't need a link to your editing feature either. Just get rid of those and put this as your name and the title of your essay. So whatever your first and last name, and then the title of your essay. And I'm just going to keep those as This I Believe. Now, as long as you still see the ones that were there before you, you can click save. If by some reason you deleted theirs, don't click cancel and try again. But it looks good. All 3 are there. Click save. And then just go ahead and test yours. So these have already been tested by other students. Go ahead and click play. It will buffer for a little bit, and then you should be able to hear it. And sure enough, I can hear my essay playing. Okay, so that's turned in. You're all ready to go. If you have any problems with that process, let your teacher know or come see me in the library so we can get it all squared away.